Mikel Merino was really impressive, I think, on his Arsenal debut. I think he picked up some brilliant areas, pressing really well and tackling very well. So I'm just going to be going through his PSG performance, talking about what I liked and just what we can expect in the future. But before I begin, if you are new here, please smash a like and hit the subscribe button too. It'd be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's just get into it. And of course, this is Mikel Merino here, very tight on Barcola. This is what I love about him. He's not afraid of putting his physical frame in the way. You know, we often have midfielders that aren't really interested in maneuvering their bodies in certain ways, but Merino is certainly a player who doesn't mind using his frame to really guard the ball and get into a really physical tussle. And it's why he won most of the duels in Europe last season, because he's not afraid of getting into these duels, into these really tight tussles. And in the end, he does really well, because obviously he gets into a position where he's sliding with Saliba, 2 versus 1 situation with Hakimi, and we win the ball back and we're able to get it up the field. And this small little thing for me just shows how good Merino is, getting into a position to defend and really use his body, but then being reactive. Once you've been really tight, can you react and win the ball itself? Because here he's just really delaying this attack, delaying Barcola going into this space. But you know, the ball then goes to Hakimi. How do you react, Merino? And we see him right here, sliding tackle with Saliba, and it's really tough in that situation for Hakimi to make anything out of that. So really love that from Merino. And that's not even it, because obviously here I love how quick he is to jump into the situation here. This is Merino in here, and just look how quickly he gets out. He starts from this sort of area next to Declan Rice and he springs. I think that's Vitinha there, springs straight onto Vitinha, closes him down, makes life really difficult. And when you have a midfielder ready to spring, ready to jump, that first sort of steps for a midfielder is really important. And Merino has that acceleration. It makes him so good, because he's kind of deceptively quick in the first few yards. He isn't going to be quick over 60 sort of meters, but he'll be quick in the first 5 meters or so. And he got really tight to Vitinha. And of course, you can look here, this is Merino in this sort of zone after winning the ball back. Really love this. You know, he's shielding the ball, trying to keep the ball. This is what I like. He plays with this sort of confidence. I think he may have actually lost the ball in this situation, but it's the confidence to shield it. Where's the next pass? Can I find a pass, you know, whereby I keep the ball rather than lose it? Can I be risky as well? He doesn't mind it, and that's why he has quite a low pass accuracy in Europe compared to other midfielders, because he's not afraid to try things, find situations where we can go on the attack rather than be sort of safe. And that's really nice to see sometimes. But really loved initially here the first sort of jump from Merino from this sort of zone to get into Vitinha, then to win the ball back, be composed and sort of try something to get us out of trouble rather than just booting it out and, you know, kind of conceding the ball again. And that's not even it, Gunners, because I really love this sort of play here. It was a ball from Saliba into the feet of Merino, and you can see there's a lot of PSG players here, and it can be tough. Your first game at the Emirates Stadium, you don't want to lose the ball, but Merino has the experience. He really wants to be in these situations. Look at how tight he wants the PSG players to get onto him. It's a 2 versus 1 situation, and he gets out of it. He finds a beautiful ball into Calafiori, and that's what I love. Put yourself in difficult situations. Put yourself in situations where you're going to have to really shift yourself to keep the ball. And this is what Merino's all about. This is why he's so good. Puts himself into really tricky situations, wants to really drag the opponent towards him so that he can play, so that he can get us on our way. And it was really nice to see the progression from him receiving that ball and, you know, the players that are on him when he finally releases it. Because obviously when that ball does go into the path of Calafiori, he can drive in there. He can play it into feet of I think that's Kai Havertz there. There's so many options. He's almost playing with the intention of the player receiving the ball having a better option around him. And when you have a player with that sort of intelligence, it's really beautiful to see. But love this sort of bit of play from Merino for sure. We then also have this, probably not going to look that glamorous really, is sort of him receiving the ball in this sort of channel, but that's the most important thing, receiving it in this channel, finding Martinelli. That's really good. You know, just it's hard, you know, for someone like Declan Rice that has been playing this sort of position to constantly be able to go and receive the ball in these sort of areas, because he's just right-footed. It's not natural for him to receive it, play it into someone like Martinelli's feet, but with a natural left footer is a lot easier. But I think the most important thing here is the movement after Martinelli receives the ball. Here in the second frame, you're going to see you know, Merino make this sort of dart in there. Martinelli doesn't play the ball into Merino, which is quite disappointing because, as you can see, it's clearly on Merino in this sort of space, and I think he has the pace to get away from Fabian as well and really then maybe put a ball across, and we're in. But Martinelli wanted to play it safe. He played it back to Kivior in the end, and the momentum is gone. But really nice to see the underlaps from Merino so early on, trying to build the relationship, trying to try things, trying to run these sort of channels, because at the end of the day, we're trying to score goals. We're trying to increase the amount of goals we score. You know, we're Arsenal now. We're not at that stage where we just want to win games. We're at that stage where we want to win, but if we can score more goals, we're going to go for it. And Merino is not a passive midfielder at all. He wants to be progressive. He wants to get into attacking situations. He wants to underlap. He wants to overlap. He wants to be involved in every phase of play. And a player like that is very, very important to a team like us, especially. And here is another beautiful moment. Just Merino jumping on the press. You know, this is Kai Havertz. Look at how we have them sort of boxed in here. Look at that. It's so good. This is where you know how good Arteta is, really. 4 Arsenal players to deal with 2 PSG players. And Merino recognises it's his first game. It can be hard to know when to get into the press, when to jump into the press as well. But Merino was so good. You'll see his stats at the end of the video, what sort of tackles he was putting, interceptions he was putting. He was so good. Look at him reading the game. He wants to get tight, and eventually, you know, Hakimi doesn't receive the ball, and look at Merino sliding in. We're able to be in a nice situation. The ball ends up going into Martinelli, and we can attack. And all of this is done by Merino being progressive, being proactive, jumping into the challenge, jumping into the press, and being really, really responsive. And kudos to him. He's not been here for, you know, in terms of footballing minutes, being on the pitch, he hasn't had any minutes before this, but to recognize, to be intelligent is really, really good. And I love that from Merino, to be honest. So much to be excited about, because I'm sure a lot of you Arsenal fans are probably thinking, can Merino really be so good in the pressing phases, in the attacking phases? But we've seen him do underlaps, we've seen him be on the press, we've seen him receive in tight spaces. All of this in 26 minutes of football, guys. It's so good. And that's not even it, because obviously we have him just lunging into challenges. Here he is again. Here he is again. I think Hakimi had skipped past Martinelli, skipped past Kivior, but there's Merino, a duel winner, one of the best, if not, he was actually the best in terms of winning duels in across the 5 leagues, and we're seeing it at play here. And he won the ball really nicely on both these occasions here off of Hakimi. And of course, I think this, I don't know, I think it might be Zaire Emery that he won the ball off, but really strong in those duels, wanting to win that ball back. And it's absolutely fantastic to see from Merino from his, you know, first couple minutes in an Arsenal shirt. And it was nice to see him get a lovely ovation when he came on the pitch. He looked so delighted to finally get, you know, some sort of minutes in an Arsenal sort of jersey. But here it is, Gunners, his stats from the game. Really nice. 3 possessions won, 2 clearances, 2 out of 3 tackles won, 4 out of 6 duels won. And all of that, guys, here it is. It's not that clear, sorry, but in 26 minutes of football to achieve this, to do this, so good. Top player. But yeah, anyway, Gunners, that's it for now. Hope you have enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on Merino's performance. I thought he was quite good. But until next time, peace.